My name is Elisa Seeger, and I am the founder of the Aiden Jack Seeger Foundation in honor of my son who lost his life to ALD, or adrenoleukodystrophy, in 2012. He was just 7 years old. Aiden was a perfect, healthy baby that grew into a perfect, seemingly healthy little boy. He played sports, excelled in school, and loved chess. In March of Aiden's first grade school year, he began having some vision problems that we just assumed meant he needed glasses. Our diagnostic odyssey started with our pediatrician, followed by an ophthalmologist, pediatric ophthalmologist, retina specialist, and finally, a neurologist. We received the diagnosis of ALD on June 2nd of 2011, about 3.5 months after the vision problems started. Although Aiden was progressed in the disease, he was still eligible for a bone marrow transplant. We moved our family to North Carolina so Aiden could be treated at Duke University. The transplant was successful, meaning he was all donor cells. However, because he was so progressed in the disease, Aiden lost all of his abilities. He could no longer see, walk, talk, eat, or hear. Aiden spent the last 10 months of his life in the hospital and passed away in April of 2012. If we had newborn screening for ALD in 2004, Aiden would be here right now with us. His life was taken because of a late diagnosis. Living in the hospital, I came across the information there was a newborn screening test for ALD, but not one state was using it. This led to my dedication to have ALD newborn screening implemented. In late 2012, I started the process of having legislation introduced. Approximately 6 months later, on March 29th of 2013, New York State signed Aiden's Law, requiring every baby born in New York to be tested for ALD. In almost 4 years of testing, New York has tested over 880,000 babies with 80 positives. This will give these families the information they need to monitor and treat before the onset of symptoms, the ability to diagnose siblings and other family members spanning generations, and the information needed to take precautions when deciding to have children. The possibility of a normal, healthy life that Aiden and thousands of others were not given. We don't realize how far-reaching newborn screening can be, especially because it saves a family the diagnostic odyssey, which can sometimes last for years. Without newborn screening, there cannot be early intervention, with which many diseases can be life-saving. I want to share with you 2 stories other than my own. Steve, and the 2 pictures on the top here. Steve started having attention deficit problems when he was 6 years old. He was treated for ADD, and his family thought he would be fine. Within a few months, he was having vision, hearing, and spatial issues. After many doctor's visits, Steve was diagnosed with ALD and was too far progressed for treatment. Steve is now 18 and has spent the last almost 12 years of his life bedridden, not being able to see, hear, talk, eat, or function on his own. He needs 24-hour care, along with frequent hospital visits. Joshua, the little blonde-haired, blue-eyed boy, also seemed to be a perfectly healthy little boy. Joshua died from a fever in his father's arms. He was just 2.5. The reason? His death was caused by an unspecified adrenal crisis. Joshua had 3 older siblings, and his family was terrified it may take the life of one of their other children. It took Joshua's parents almost 4 years of searching for answers to discover Joshua died of an adrenal crisis because he had ALD. 90% of boys with ALD will also have adrenal insufficiency, which means the body is not equipped to handle stress. A fever, stitches, bump on the head can all lead to death. Adrenal insufficiency can present within the first few months of life, and can be easily remedied by taking a pill that costs pennies a day. It is giving the body what it doesn't produce on its own. These two lives could have been very different with an early diagnosis through newborn screening. If we have the method of diagnosing patients early in order to offer medical intervention at the right time, don't we have an ethical obligation to do so? We are currently at 5 states actively testing for ALD: New York, Connecticut, California, Minnesota, and Pennsylvania, with more states slated to come on board in 2018, and other states starting the process. Although we've come a long way in a relatively short amount of time, I look forward to a day when every state is testing babies for ALD, so they can be spared the pain of a late diagnosis. A child's life should not depend on their zip code. The Aid and Jack Seeger Foundation was started to save future boys born with ALD, the chance that Aiden and so many others did not have, the right to a normal, healthy life. We are committed to raise awareness, helping families in need, and fighting for national ALD newborn screening. In March of 2016, Senator Schumer and Congresswoman Clark introduced bills to help every state add ALD newborn screening. Unfortunately, we did not make it to the floor for a vote, and I am continuing to seek support to move these bills forward. I believe we will see a day where every state is testing not only for ALD, but for every disease on the federal recommended uniform screening panel. The time of diagnosis is key to not only saving lives, but offering the best quality of life and helping further research and cures. I want to end with a picture of, this is my daughter, Sienna, and on the left is baby Brody, who is diagnosed through newborn screening in Connecticut. And on the right is Matthew, who is the first family I was able to meet in New York, diagnosed with ALD. This is so important to me, and the reason why I continue to do what I do. I know that these lives will be very different, and their lives will be saved because of newborn screening. Thank you for your time.